Morning,
Good
everyone.
morning, Michelle.
Hi,
And
Michelle.
hi, everyone. As you're joining, could you please put your name and affiliation to the chat, and we'll get started here in a moment. Okay, Michelle, whenever you'd like to get started.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. If you are in the Florida, North Carolina, or regions impacted by the hurricane, I hope you and your families are safe. Today, we are going to have a roundtable discussion and also some introductions to our new AMCC members. So I will pass it to Matt Bogosian to facilitate that. Matt, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Michelle. Century Foundation, Michelle Burris. Always a great partner in doing this good hard bottom up work. It is our Monday 30-minute, very efficient check-in call, September 30th, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, and 8:30 Pacific. Yeah, so like Michelle said, this is a roundtable call for anyone who's new. We have just kind of interactive calls where folks share about what's going on. Other Mondays, we have some short presentation to provoke particularly important conversations and initiatives. Like last Monday, we had EDA's Amanda Costi on here talking a little bit about the $50 million build to scale opportunity. So that's one of the many exciting federal interventions into regions that expect the ecosystem of support to put together applications around the federal criteria and try to create collective impact toward specific goals. This is a roundtable call, though, so we don't have a presentation. But David, if you could, David Van Sicklen, our operations director, he helps us set up presentations for the coming weeks from lots of different suggestions from you guys, from others. David, what do we have on deck for the weeks coming up? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. And we've got a lot of presentations all through October. Next Monday, we'll have Shaylin Giotishi from New America, who's done a lot of good work in writing around the role of community colleges and regional innovation ecosystems. So he'll come on and share a little bit about the work that they've been doing recently. On the 14th, that's Indigenous Peoples Day, so we will not be having a Monday call on that day. Then on the 21st, we'll have Michelle Burris from the Century Foundation and her partner Tanu Kumar from the Urban Manufacturing Alliance, speaking a little bit about I believe, a new report that's coming out during Manufacturing Month. Michelle, correct me if I've got that uh, incorrect. And then on the 28th of October, we'll have Bernie Lynch from the SCORE Consortium. This is a defense manufacturing community. She'll be coming on with a colleague of hers to describe some chemical process credentialing and training programs that they've spun out of their defense community work. So they'll be going into greater detail on that on the 28th of October.
Great, David. Thank you so much. And David, could you grab and post into the chat the link to our presentations page
Yeah.
on our website? So here's the deal, folks, really easy to do, right? Is grab these presentation links and send them out to your network to the extent it's relevant, because there's just so much good updated information from the people, doing these presentations that can really add value. And so, they could be about an emerging technology key to one of the six broad priority manufacturing industries America needs to strengthen for our long-term safety and prosperity. We talk about those six manufacturing industries every week: defense, energy, transportation, ag, IT, and health. That's why we have the Manufacturing USA Institutes, right? All these new technologies. We've got the new AI one coming in, but many of the others, our manufacturers around the country have not really made the operational improvements that are kind of low-hanging fruit in many cases, like digitization and additive manufacturing. So we've got to do a lot around those new technologies in those priority manufacturing industries. And then, of course, presentations could be about some of the big six ecosystem of support areas that we always talk about. The big six of workforce and training, supply chain support, research and entrepreneurship, infrastructure, site development, trade, operational improvement and capital access. Or the presentations can be about, what we're shooting for, what we want: sustainable development, the good jobs in more regions with DEIA, environmental sustainability, and national security. So we set up that frame. This is a roundtable call where, we hear from you guys about why you're on this call. It's an opportunity to, introduce or reintroduce yourself, to say a little bit about the work that you're doing and what you want to hear from the network, right? You can't do it all. You're just at one perch within one part of the ecosystem, but this is a collective impact model, and it requires your, your engagement. Let me just give you, David, if you could put in the chat, on our website is AMCC's strategic plan. And the reason I'm going to this right now is because it took like over a year with a lot of you stakeholders giving input as to what's needed in this country around some kind of connective tissue. This was the formation of AMCC and what we're trying to accomplish. So you check out that, for future input, check out that strategic plan. We had a lot of regional leaders and BFFs from around the country giving input on that. Former Department of Commerce official Aaron Sparks facilitated that year-long process of coming up with a strategic plan to grow and connect and measure and build out this kind of connective tissue around the country. It's going to take all of us really, bringing our silo, but also getting out of our silo to deal with other silos to create that kind of collective impact. So check that out. To Linda Larson from Utah, who is on our board. We have 5 regions that are on our board that meet every week with other BFFs to talk about how we carry out this strategic plan. To Linda Larson, one of those from Utah, who has been a great leader. She's honchoing a new effort to see what happens, beyond our or continuing our designation as the nation's manufacturing community of practice. How does that morph? What could we do? Who could we ally with smarter and faster to help bring regions and the people in those regions farther faster in making smarter products that solve problems? So lots of good stuff up there, but it takes all of you to participate. And so this is a good time for folks to introduce or reintroduce yourself. So if you're new, I see Kelly Swords from the state of Washington, who is on our board. We had Sarah Lee on our board, who is in the governor's office doing manufacturing work, and she's passed the baton to Kelly. Kelly, why don't you take a second to introduce yourself, where you are in the ecosystem of support, and what how you see this work. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt, for the opportunity. Hello, everyone. I am the Center Director for Impact Washington, Washington State's MEP Center, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. So we're part of that national network that we have many participants on these weekly calls, which is great because our network also partners with many of your organizations to deliver solutions, training, consulting to small and mid-sized manufacturers in our states. We're busy right now gearing up for Manufacturing Week this week and have a number of activities. I know that looks a bit different in each of our states. For us, we partner with the Association of Washington Business for a week-long bus tour, stopping at many of our clients' facilities, inviting in communities, dignitaries, and so forth to have great conversations about manufacturing and the future of manufacturing in Washington State and opportunities to connect with others across the country to make this happen.
That's great, Kelly. Thanks for pointing out Manufacturing Week, day, week, month. I think lots
Yeah,
of folks are
October's
using.
busy.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yes, Jones. I'm sorry. What's your first name? Go ahead.
Jeanette Jones. I'm with
Jeanette.
the Greater Memphis Chamber.
Hi,
So
Jeanette.
good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to share. I just wanted to share with you guys what we are doing for Manufacturing Month. We changed it. We actually will celebrate Manufacturing Day. We will have a kickoff celebration at 2 companies in Memphis. And we're going to have students touring each company, and they will tour a company each week for the month. So we have partnered with Memphis and Shelby County Schools, West Memphis Schools, just communities, schools around the area to make sure that students get a chance to see the assets of our community. We have 1,132 manufacturers in Memphis, and most people don't know and they don't get a chance to tour them. So as a chamber, we always say we're not your breakfast chamber. We do non-traditional work. We've stepped into a space that's changed the landscape. Where we've decided to, to host these tours and make sure that we introduce our students to industry. In Memphis, our goal, we understand that students can't be what they can't see. So we've partnered with manufacturers, we've partnered with our local high schools and middle schools and community colleges to do this work. And lastly, I'll say that our goal is to get students from 6th grade to 6 figures. We believe that if we start early and as companies come to the region and they start to build and grow, by the time a student get to high school, they will have had some introduction to the manufacturing industry from the skill set side of it and just from what happens and what goes on in the industry. We know that students learn about work at work. So we have registered all of our events with the Manufacturing Institute. So we're excited to take this journey. We have a lot of partners that's going to be a part of this work with us. So thank you for the opportunity to share.
That is awesome, Jeanette. Thanks so much. And please share more with David and I about your efforts there. And then because we can elevate them and we can put that out in the AMCC update and our other connects out there. Super, super excited to hear about that, that work there. Let's see, other introductions. Joyce Reed, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm the Deputy Secretary for Veterans and Defense Affairs, and I'm sitting in for Tom Krabs and staying connected with the manufacturing as part of the overall initiatives, but with our small business, there's language that's being addressed in the assembly this year. There's a study underway looking at opportunities of how we do this better across the business space. So I'm learning today, but I'm also engaging from the perspective of knowing that there is language that's being addressed for the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Well, that's so great, Joyce. So glad you're on here. And, state governments are such an important part of the ecosystem as we're all coming from our silo humbly. From our silo, because we know it takes a village and we know that manufacturing isn't just in one little region. We've got to be connected across the state. That's the one thing that has really come out in the last 10 years. We've got to get out of this race to the bottom mindset of one state versus another. We're going up against dictators and thieves around the world who are challenging the American project, and we've got to prove the case here at home, and we've got to do it working together. David and I had a great call. We have these Monday calls, but then when new people, we have short one-on-one calls. And I see Ben McLaughlin from the state of Maryland, Joyce. So you're Virginia, Ben's from Maryland, has a whole career. We had a side call with Ben because he wanted to get into the AMCC network. He has had a whole great career in manufacturing, and now he's working for the state of Maryland. Ben, why don't you introduce yourself? Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I love this. It's only my second call. The collaboration opportunities are just great. I learned a lot on the first call. I'm hoping to continue to learn a lot. My role is to advance manufacturing in Maryland, and I work for the Department of Commerce. We have several programs that we run to assist manufacturers, both with technology adoption, workforce development, and I'm looking to learn from the group here. I already learned from Miss Jones. I love that 6th grade to 6 figures. I think that's something that we're looking to do in Maryland. Manufacturing jobs pay a very high wage in Maryland with advanced manufacturing. And so we're looking to continue to grow the ecosystem. And I'm happy to collaborate and help everybody in this group if I can provide any help. And I'm looking to learn from the group as well. And thank you, Matt and David, for the call last week. It was very informative.
Well, say a little bit, Ben, about your manufacturing background. I think that would add value to the folks here. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm your atypical state employee. I was working in manufacturing as a CEO of a confection and snack manufacturer that did contract manufacturing for large companies. One of those companies is in Memphis. And we did a lot of contract manufacturing for those companies. And then I spent 5 years as a partner and general manager, COO of a plant automation company. So we help manufacturers achieve automation through conveyance and sensors and systems, robotics, palletizing, those sorts of things. And then I found myself in consulting, and the state opportunity came available, and it looked like exactly what I wanted to accomplish in the consulting practice that I was in. And I thought this would be great. I recently moved to the state of Maryland, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to really help advance manufacturing within the state of Maryland. And so I'm thrilled to be part of the Department of Commerce at Maryland. And Maryland's very supportive of our manufacturing community.
Oh, thanks, Ben. Great to have you a part of this network. And as you can see, just on this call, if you flip through the participants, you can identify, and some people in the chat. We're all, Jeanette, we've got you from the Chamber of Commerce, which is awesome. We have BFFs from the federal agencies, of course, the Department of Defense, Department of Energy, Department of Commerce. They're all on these calls, and many others. State governments are important. Economic developers, we're doing this this big event in California. I see Stephen from East Bay Fremont in California, in the Bay Area of California. We're doing an event with economic development folks there. Stephen, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, Matt, thank you. And yeah, I appreciate all your morning calls. I'm going to stay off camera just because I'm not in a spot to be on, but just want to say, yeah, we picked up our manufacturing, East Bay ADA, we're a regional economic development organization, and we started our regional manufacturing initiative about 3.5 years ago. And we've been really digging in to sort of understand the diversity and variety of subsectors we have here, which really gives us, we think, a real competitive advantage from a lot of other regions, because we're not dependent on just one or two industries that really have a good composition of many. And indeed, we are at the end of October going to be having a summit down in Fremont. Really excited to have Matt and David tag along for some of that. We're going to have a keynote from Stanford University. Andy Switke is professor of industrial engineering and design. And then we've got panels around around the sort of regional ecosystem of companies in the Bay Area. We have a panel on the talent pipeline and sort of workforce needs and how to stay current with that, as well as a piece around international trade and supply chain. And it'll really be the capstone to our USEDA grant, but we're continuing to work with our members and partners and other stakeholders throughout the East Bay and broader Bay Area and really Northern California region to continue to make sure that the work we did, which started off really looking in depth at industrial lands and the real importance of it in our region of industrial lands preservation and zoning and things of that nature. So we created some toolkits for municipalities to be more flexible and adaptable to really and responsive to needs on the ground. And so we're happy about being able to leave behind different resources like that and others to really help work with our network as things continue forward. So we're excited about that event. We have a whole new website up that we started about a year ago. I will drop it in the chat just so you can. It's called resilienteastbay.org. And so I will drop it in there for folks if they're curious.
Thank you, Stephen. And those best practices, you share them with David and I, and we can elevate them, just like I was talking with Jeanette about her sixth grade to six figures. That's awesome.
That is great. A great line.
Yeah, that is very cool. Very cool. Other folks that want to introduce themselves, we have, on that strategic plan, one of the things that has come up over the years over and over again is could we get some rudimentary set of metrics for a rising, thriving manufacturing region, around the big six. So we have a lot of folks, BFFs from federal agencies, but also from the private sector, chipping in to see if we can get our arms around that. So all of you have better tools to kind of identify, at least do a kind of a self-assessment on the gaps that might exist within your state or your regional ecosystem. So just wanted to call that out, because that's a continuing thread, right? As we bring the best evidence so the interventions that we work together to create have, a higher and higher probability of success. At least there's a correlation. If you do these kinds of things, we're going to get the outcomes we want to produce. So lots important. I see Brian Kennedy there on camera talking about capital access. That's a big piece of it, right, Brian? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Hello, everyone. Great to be in the room. My name is Brian Kennedy. I'm with AMPAC Business Capital. We're a local SBA lender here in California. We serve all of California from the south all the way to the north, and we'll be a part of the California Forward Economic Development Conference this year as well, and grateful to serve alongside great partners like yourselves. We know that manufacturing is the backbone of the economy, and we're really trying to make sure that all of our manufacturing partners and as well as business owners know about the SBA loans that are available to them. Specifically, one of the ones that we provide is SBA 504, which is specifically for purchasing or refinancing commercial real estate or large heavy-duty equipment. Another initiative that's specific for this greenhouse gas reduction fund time period we're in is the SBA 504 Green Loan, which is specific for helping people add on sustainable energy to their building or to purchase a building and do construction to make sure that the energy efficiency is in that new building. And so we're always trying to be a resource as often as we can, whether it be providing access to capital or using our entrepreneur ecosystem to advance access to coaching and access to community. We're grateful to serve, and we want to be here as a partner to every manufacturer we can touch and help them access capital, or at the local and statewide level to be an advocate and a champion alongside folks like you. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Great to be
Thank you, Brian. As always, you're a great teammate and kind of emblematic of the folks that are a part of this network. And, Jeanette and Ben, we do these AMCC roadshows around the country, and David can drop a link in the chat that describes the many states that we have been to, the many regions around the country that we have been to with many of the stakeholders here. These cool 30-minute calls are great because it keeps us together very efficiently, because you all are systems leaders and busy people, and it's a great, easy way to keep connected with that and the weekly AMCC updates. So those two weekly things we think are very quick and efficient and important. But of course, being in person matters a lot, and you guys are probably carrying that out in Manufacturing Day, Week, Month here in October. But if you want some help in your region about bringing your herding your cats together, a lot of the regions around the country, David's putting together the calendar for next year as to where we can go next year to kind of with you co-create visits that make sense to bring the federal intervention stakeholders in with the regional leaders from government, nonprofits, private sector for the manufacturers. So there's a lot to those co-created visits. We're excited to be going to Texas next. Well, after California, then we're going to Texas. But you'll see the list on the website of the many places that we have been, and it's a lot of good hard work to bring these things together. But when we do it together, we're making some collective impact, some really good outcomes from those things. So we have just a couple of minutes left. Wanted to see if anybody else, David, did you have something?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I wanted to have make a quick plug and request of everyone. So just this past week, we've hit our 1-year anniversary of the Manufacturing an American Century podcast. This is something that Matt hosts with interviews from people all across the country. We've got 21 episodes so far, with the 22nd episode coming out this week. And this is really another fantastic opportunity for any of you or your bosses, colleagues, partners, anyone you think would be a good addition to this podcast. We can find 45 minutes to an hour, and Matt can sit down and we can record your story and how your experience adds value to our collective work. So make sure to give some of those a listen. They're really great episodes. And if you'd like to be on the podcast or know someone who'd be good for it, just send me a message and we can get that rolling.
Thanks, David. Yeah, no, it's really cool. The format is talking about, from your, just like these calls, but we can go in depth, and it's a fun journey to learn about just the amount of talent we have in this country, in regions everywhere, in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, working to strengthen the American project. Super, super impressive, and important to share, to David's point, and to Jeanette's point, right? People need to understand this needs to get to kitchen tables across the country. Like, how do we do that? No one's got it dialed. We've got to work on that together to get the narrative out and embedded within our country. So anyway, thank you for that, David. Let me turn it to you, Michelle, and we can close this out. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much. A really great meeting. Enjoyed learning about my home state of Maryland and Memphis, where I just came back from. Everyone, wishing you a wonderful manufacturing day, week, and month. And we will see you back here on October 7th. Have a great week. Bye-bye.